welcome to Joel's Gnomes. I'm Leander. I'm one of Joel's Gnomes. Today we're going to start a new series, poisonous plants that you might find in your garden. Today we're going to be destroying this very magnificent specimen of poison ivy. Poison ivy is just a plant that happens to grow very well in yards, and we'll explain that later. Nature can be beautiful to us, it can be horrific to us, it can be calm and peaceful, it can be very violent. Nature just is, and we're part of it. So nature is not here to make us happy. So some plants can be quite poisonous to us. Poison ivy is not poisonous to deer or goats or rabbits. They'll just eat it up. It is, however, very allergic to, or people are allergic to poison ivy. Poison ivy's scientific name is Toxicodendron radicans. That's it, Toxicodendron radicans. Toxicodendron comes from two Greek words, toxikos, which means poison, dendron, which means tree, so poison tree, and radicans comes from the Latin for to root. So Toxicodendron radicans, which sounds quite nice to us, means poison tree that spreads by roots. Poison ivy spreads two ways. It has small yellowish white flowers that turn into berries. Birds eat them and poop them all over the place. It can also spread underground through the root system. Poison ivy is deciduous, which means the leaves will turn brown and die back in the fall. And the next spring, just like trees and shrubs, you'll get new growth. This poison ivy has probably been growing up here for at least 2 years. Today it's time to take it down. So the famous way of identifying poison ivy, this happens to be eastern poison ivy, which can grow as a vine or as a shrub. The western poison ivy, which is related to eastern, that can only grow as a vine, and that only grows on the western side. Eastern poison ivy, eastern part of the U.S. The active toxic ingredient in poison ivy is an oil called urushiol, and urushiol is in the sap. Some people say, oh, if I even look at poison ivy, or if I even get near it, I get poison ivy. It's not an airborne oil. You have to actually touch the plant to get the effect. When you get the oil on your skin, your body's defenses will come to the attack and try to get rid of the invader, urushiol. And that's where we get our blisters, all that nasty runny stuff that comes out of a blister. That is the dead defensive cells in your body that have died trying to get rid of this poisonous invader. So when you get these blisters on your skin, extremely itchy, that means it's irritation, it's infection. You want to scratch them. If you do, you risk yourself getting other skin infections, but the oil will not spread. So you might say, hey, I got poison ivy in 2 spots on my body one day, and then the next day you might find it in other spots. Now those other spots were there originally, but they are a smaller concentration, and they'll show up later on. So poison ivy cannot be spread from scratching your skin and smearing that junk all over yourself, which you actually don't want to do. Since it's an oil, if you wash immediately with a detergent, the detergent will break up the lipids in the oil, and that will get rid of the urushiol. Urushiol will stay potent for over a year, so you may let this plant go, and when the leaves fall in autumn after they die, you might think, okay, it's safe to rake them up. The urushiol is still in the leaves, so you're going to get it even if the leaves are dead. So to get rid of poison ivy, first you have to cover as much skin as possible. The ideal outfit for this would be a wet diving suit that keeps all your body completely covered and the oil cannot get to it, your skin. If you don't happen to have a full diving suit, next best thing, long pants, long shirt, long rubber gloves, and eye protection. The urushiol oil, as you cut away the plant, it will get all over you, spots that you don't even know. So carefully when you're done, take off all those clothes, put them in a plastic bag, and then wash them with hot water and detergent, and that will get rid of all the oil. You do not want to burn it, because even if you burn it, you can, the smoke has the urushiol oil in it. And if you think getting blisters on the outside of your body from poison ivy is bad, you never want to get a lung infection from breathing in the burning leaves of poison ivy. It can be fatal. So what we're going to do is spray this plant with a ground cover killer. It will kill weeds, grass, anything that's living. You know, when you're trying to get rid of poison ivy, it can be difficult, but just be really careful. There are some weed killers out there that say, oh, this is specific to poison ivy. The active ingredient in killing the plant is also found in much cheaper, just ground cover killers. You might pay $1 or more extra because it says, oh, it kills poison ivy. You don't have to buy that more expensive stuff. General ground killer will work. Poison ivy can be fascinating. If you happen to accidentally let it go all season, it has brilliant, beautiful yellow, orange, and red fall colors, just like maples. But you probably don't want it to stick around to see the pretty colors on such a poisonous plant. Poison ivy was not quite as prevalent until it was present in the US. When Europeans came and they started farming, poison ivy loves sunny to semi-sunny conditions. The only place it will not grow is the desert. So these homesteaders, they make farms, clear out the land, they're surrounded by trees. That's where poison ivy likes to grow, is in that area there. Poison ivy really took off in the 1960s because of the suburban building boom, and it is a pretty invasive, difficult species that you can find in pretty much any yard in the suburbs or rural areas or urban areas. One other fascinating thing about poison ivy is that it absolutely loves carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is like liquid gold to it. It will just really flourish where there are a lot of exhaust fumes from cars, and it's estimated that the spread and the toxicity of poison ivy currently is double that to the early 1960s. So the more carbon dioxide we have in our air, the more poison ivy we'll have to deal with. So thank you very much for watching. I am Leander, I'm one of Joel's gnomes, and please feel free to subscribe, and if you've already subscribed, please feel free to hit the like button on that. So thank you again, and we will see you next time.